William Slattery, retired jockey. I suppose dealing in horses, a horse dealer, I suppose. That's what I'm at now. We're in Killenaule, Tipperary. As the crow flies, half a mile from Edward O'Grady's. Round the road, maybe 2 miles. We sold the champion hurl winner. It was a champion hurl winner a mile and a half to the left, and was a champion hurl winner a mile and a half to the right. The first one was Winning Fair. Second one was Hardy Eustace and Faugheen. And I suppose that's where Spencer's, George Spencer's, Frank Spencer's, James Spencer, Jamie Spencer, were there's a back road in there. It's about a mile in from here into their house, and I suppose that's where Spencer's is where it all started for us. That's where my father went and started at horses. Pat Joyce bred another very good horse called He Song, and yeah, so there's a lot of good horses around here. And the hen, he's like, it's a lot of great, and of course you had the Killenaule in Killenaule as well for years. I'd say Mick Killenaule was born in Killenaule. So it's very horsey country down here. Well, my father started in Spencer's, and he was lucky enough. He rode 9 winners on Winning Fair, the horse that won the champion hurl for Spencer's. He won 9 races on him, and a horse called Springtime Lad he rode a lot of winners on. And yeah, that was basically where he started, and he went from there, and he went to I think he went to Willie O'Grady's and then Adrian Maxwell's. I don't know many winners my father rode. I'd say he didn't only ride about 40. I'd say he only rode about 40 or 50 winners, but he only ever rode, he rode for the Spencers, and he worked for Adrian Maxwell as well, and then he went working for O'Grady's, and he went driving. He gave 20 years driving the lorry for O'Grady's. We're very, very, very family orientated. Like we're like, you know, like we are, you know, we bring one another along. If we're going up together, and if we're going down together. So, and it's been that way. Like when we started, like it was 7 of us small kids above in a small little house. Like there was 7 small kids up there. And my father and my mother, my father working a job, my mother rearing 7 small kids. We never wanted for anything. So I suppose that was definitely a help to us, you know. Now Brian would have no idea that because he wasn't even born. By the time he was born, it was different because me, Andy and Ann were working, and we were bringing in a few extra money. Like this was a different, completely different world when we were young. Like it's different. You know, but we're, and you can put this in, we're very, very lucky the mother and father we got. You know, we were very, very lucky. They showed us how to work anyway. Yeah, I remember when we were kids, my father was breaking those horses. I remember my father getting up every morning at 6 o'clock to feed the horses. He'd drive a half an hour to South Lodge to Adrian Maxwell's. After feeding the horses, we'd get up before school, and myself and Andy and Ann, we'd hay and water. We'd have to hay and water the horses, and we'd have to hay and water the horses and fodder the cattle before we go to school. Then my mother, when we began to school, then my mother would go up and muck them out. Yeah, there's 10 of us in family. Yeah, there's a lot of us. Andy is the eldest. I'm the third. Anne is the second, who's been in Jake Cohen's and Luke Cohen's mother. And yeah, then Brian is the youngest. Well, no, youngest boy. I have 2 younger sisters than him. So yeah, so Brian's the youngest boy, and 2 younger sisters, and so yeah, that's it really. Directly 3 of us. We say Anne is very involved now because she never really had much interest in horses herself, but all her kids did, and so she's definitely interested now. And my younger sister Aisling married John O'Neill, you know, so John O'Neill as in Weymouth Stud, Stowaway, Affinity, yeah. So she's getting more interested. She never much interest in horses, but she's getting more interested. My father then started training a few pointers, and he used to break a few horses for lads. She used to break a few horses for Andy Kendi and Phil Sweeney and people like that. And so basically that's how I learned how to ride. I was thrown up on these breakers and I had to learn how to stay on them. No, I never done any show jumping. We had a pony. We had a couple of ponies, right little boy. He'd run away with you and jam in the toes and leave you out over his head. Yeah, little chestnut had a white face. He'd learn how to stay on anyway. We might borrow a pony off of somebody and we'd have a loan of a pony, but like you can imagine, there was 10 kids, my father was working a job and it wasn't a lot of money for buying ponies. I had great friends then, like the Canans and Pat Haney, young Patrick Haney, who unfortunately got killed in an accident last year. And we used to go riding around the roads and the ponies and that, but that was really the start of it. But it was mainly learned how to ride. You got thrown up on a breaker and you had to learn how to stay on them. You go point to point, and we used to go with the, I know you know Mick Barrett, he used to ride a good few of them. And of course, we used to all go, the Barretts and us, and Mick Barrett would be riding the horse and he'd probably pull the horse, or my father would pull the horse, but we'd all go in the same car and there'd be 2 or 3 of the young Barretts and there'd be 2 or 3 of us, or 4 of us. And we'd be piled in and we'd go after the point and we'd be running around and this was great, you know. Like, it was different. Like that time you go to points, it was like a carnival. Like it's not like now, like, you know, it was day out and yeah, that's where that's where we kind of, the love for the national hunt game, you know, so halfway through the 3rd year, I decided I wasn't going back anymore. I left for Christmas. I went up, Timmy Finn was head man in O'Grady's. And I went up and knocked on the door and I says, Timmy, can I have a job? Oh, of course, soon you can have a job for you can have a job there for the Christmas holidays. So that was grand anyway. And so I had the job and I said to Timmy, halfway through, I said, Timmy, I'm not going back to school. Oh, of course, soon you have to go back to school. He said, you have to go back and you're going to tell you what your mother and father say. So I didn't tell him yet. He said, you better tell him before we do any more. So anyway, I said I wasn't going back, and I wouldn't go back. And so we, anyway, Timmy got me the job in O'Grady's. And Timmy was a great man. And listen, O'Grady's a great man. Like they're just, it's a great place to be. And that time, every fella was a seriously good rider at the time. Like, there were seriously good riders there. Philip Finton would have been the jockey there, but you'd have Paddy Hassett and Dennis Pendergast, and there'd be seriously good riders. Like fellas that you wouldn't hear tell of them now, loads of them, but they were good riders. I was apprenticed to Edward and rode my first winner for him on a horse called Medalsman in Sligo. When I started riding, I was about 6 stone 12. Yeah. And a year after I was 8 stone 7. I just shot up, and and that time, like if you couldn't do 9 stone, like if you were, like you had no business, if you wanted to do 8.5 stone, you had no business on the flat. So I had to go, and so I went from there down to a fellow called Chris Reins, down to Scarteen, who hunted the Scarteens. But he had all flat horses as well, so I was there, and I was there a couple of weeks, and Val O'Connell used to come and work his horses there. Val, who was the retired clerk of the courses. And so Val used to come and work the horses. And he says, well, how do you like it here? He says to me, we're riding out. And I said, yeah, it's lovely, great place, lovely people, but I'm not staying. Oh, he says, yeah, I says, listen, I want to go riding jumpers. And I says, there's no jumpers here, there's no point in me being here. So Jesse says, you might come working for me. So I did, and lucky enough, he had a very good horse called Stormy Guy at the time. And I got to ride a couple of winners on him. Lucky enough for me, or unlucky for him, but Michael Byrne had been riding him the year before, but Michael had a bad fall and broke his leg. So he wasn't able to ride him. And the first day he was running, God, he was flying at home. The horse was flying. I couldn't believe he'd let me ride him. And sure, he won a minute now. He bet a good horse belonged to the Dailies. Michael McDonough under him. Jeez, I can't think of his name. I'll think of it in a minute. Ballymac Boy, I think was his name. Something like that anyway. But he was a good horse. And yeah, beat him easy. And we went to, you never know your luck. We went to Roscommon a week later and he won again. And then I was lucky enough, I got going very quickly because I went to Sligo to ride a horse for Val in a maiden hurl that wasn't much good. And then finished down the field, but I got a spare riding the bumper on that one. And my next winner, I came home and we'd a mare called Black Church Girl, who really was bad leper now. She was bad leper. But Andy had 4 or 5 rides in, he had 4 or 5 rides in Tramore, and I had no ride, and I was kicking up stink anyway that they wouldn't let me ride this horse. And my father didn't want me to ride it because he knew I'd give it a hunt, and he knew Andy'd be all right because he wouldn't. And so he'd want me to ride, but I was kicking up. But anyway, I convinced him to let me ride it and went racing anyway. But wasn't Andy to ride one for Frank O'Brien, and just wasn't lucky enough he couldn't do the weight in it. And I got to riding at a mare called Mary the Rake, and sure, she won the bridle. They jacked me off the other one, all right. Andy got around, but I probably wouldn't. He finished third in it, but I probably wouldn't. I still think I might have won it because I'd give it a kick down the hill. Andy didn't. I rode 3 or 4 winners fairly quickly for Frank O'Brien, and he was going well at the time, and Frank offered me a job. And sure, listen, I had to take it, 40 horses valid 12, I had to take it. And I had a great time with Val and Gobnet, they were great people, so I had a great time down there. At the time, 40 horses was a big yard, and David was the amateur. David and John were the amateurs, and Tony was riding the horses, and Kevin was first jockey to Michael Hourigan at the time. And they were great horse people, learned a lot there too. And I went down there and I was living with him in the house. I was living in the house, myself and David were in the same room there. And would you believe, lucky enough, I rode winners for Frank. I rode winners for Frank, David and Marie when Frank got killed in an accident riding out on there. And Marie took over the licence, and I was lucky enough to ride winner for her and rode winners for David. So that's great, yeah, we were. And sure, Tony O'Brien didn't turn out. He was one of my best friends, yeah. So, and funny enough, we ended up buying a few horses together, and we bought a horse together called My Dream Boat, and he went on to win a Group 1 on the flat. I only stayed there about 2 years, and sure, my claim was gone. Frank was putting up Kevin. When Tony couldn't ride him, he was putting up Kevin, which was fair enough, he was his son, But I didn't look at it that way. I didn't look at it that way. I was thinking, well, what's the point of me being here if Kevin's going to ride him? And Would you believe after the week I gave him my notice, he gave me one of my biggest ever winners on Darren Prince. Yeah, I gave him my notice, and he says, if you go, you're going to miss the winner. He says, that horse going to win. He says, you won't be riding him. I said, I have to go anyway. I said, there's not enough here for us all. And yeah, he still jocked me up, and he never told me I was riding it, just jocked me up. I drove racing that day, not knowing whether I was riding them or not. That was in Tralee, the Dinnie's gold medal. Yeah, there was some good horses in that race that day. I'd say the first and the second in the Galway Plate were in that race that day. But he was a great jumper, and he was second in. He went on, you know, of course he got a penalty for that, and he was second in the Kerry National, but Tony rode him. He went up a few pound handicap. Very different, very, 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 very different. There was an awful lot of small trainers, and small fields. You know, in the summertime, there was no such thing as watering. Charlie Swan, Dunwoody. When I was finishing Ruby and Tony McKay and Barry Garrity, actually, listen, they're phenomenal riders. But they were always phenomenal riders. There's always loads of good riders. I suppose what I would think about riders is, of course, the good riders are good riders. They're good riders. Every one of them did a good job, though. It's all about the good trainer. You know, it's all, if there's so many good jockeys. Philip Donovan rode a winner for Andy the other day. I'd know he's 28 or 9 years of age. He's a really, really good rider. And he's still claiming 5. And it's not from lack of ability. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not. And I'm only saying him because he's riding a bit for us, and you know, if he wasn't riding for us, I wouldn't see him. And you can be sure there's tens of lads like him all over the country and all over England that are not in the right place at the right time. You know, it's like, I think if I got out of license in the morning and went working for Willie Mullins, he'd probably near enough make me champion. And that's nothing. I'm not saying anything against Paul Town's a brilliant jockey, but Willie Mullins is a phenomenal man, phenomenal trainer. Like, you had Paul Carby, and Paul Carby is just an unbelievable rider, just unbelievable man over a jump. Charlie, if Charlie got to the first 3 lengths in front, well, you could pack up and go home. That race was over, like, you know. And if Charlie was at the back and you were in front, you were probably in the wrong place as well. You know, so there are some fabulous riders, loads of them, loads and loads of fabulous riders. And Tony O'Brien was a brilliant rider. When you ride a horse in a race after Tony, after riding around, and you riding a handicap after him, just autopilot, just sit there and it'll take you around. You know, I lost my claim, went through my claim very quickly, and sure, it's gone from Frank's, and I was riding for good few for David McGrath, and David wasn't having as many horses as he had, and next thing is you're kind of out of fashion, and I'm kind of out of fashion, and not riding much. And then, lucky enough, I was over and there's a gallop over in Clonacody called Carrigan's at the time, and there used to be schooling fences there. And anyway, I was there one day working on horses for someone, and Thomond O'Meara was there. And Thomond was schooling this horse himself anyway, and he fell off, and he was rolling around, and he said, "Oh, my collarbone is broke." Thomond said his collarbone was broke. And anyway, I schooled it for him anyway, and I started riding a bit from him. I rode a lot of winners for Thomond after. Yeah. Funny enough, I met him that evening after he broke his collarbone. It wasn't broke at all. He didn't want to get back up on it. A good trainer now, good trainer when he'd have him ready. And but then, same as that, he was starting to, he got into the breeze ups, and he was kind of getting smaller. And sure, Andy was training in, of course, like Andy was training in, and sure, I couldn't see Andy hadn't much of any good either. I couldn't see where the next winner was coming from. And I said, oh, here, have enough of this. Cork was actually, I rode my first jump winner there, and I rode my last horse there. My last ride there. I went there one day and I was just in the weigh room and I was looking around thinking, this is not for me anymore, don't know any of these fellas. You know, they're all young fellas and I was getting old and I was like, I was after finishing last tail off and I was thinking, it's no good. So went around, gathered up myself and went on. Never said that to anyone, but I knew I wasn't coming back. You know, there's no point. Like, there's no point if you can't be competitive. Like, it's no good. Myself, Kieran Gall, Mick Murphy, Joe Casey, sometimes Ken Whelan. We used to go racing, share the drive when we used to go race, but it's crack used to be mighty. Like, we'd have that, but you know, but if you weren't going racing on time, you wouldn't get in. Like you'd be going to Wexford, and like you wouldn't get in there. Like you'd be cutting your ass there, and now you can drive on there. No hold up going to any race meeting. I got a very bad fall in Naas one day. And a horse fell at me in the flat. A horse called Battery Park. He fell in the flat, and cost poor Ruby a Group 1 winner the day after. Brought Ruby down, but Ruby's horse kicked me in the head. All the skin was gone off my eye. All the skin around my eye was hanging down there, and broke a few ribs. And that was a bad fall. I got another bad fall in the Galway hurl. Yeah, I should have won the Galway hurl one, yeah. Yeah, fucking, I was riding for John Morrison. John Morrison's great. For the first time I ever rode for John Morrison, he said, do you want to ride a winner? I said, do what you're told, you'll ride a winner. And I did, and it won. And actually, I didn't really do it. I jumped to the front at the second last. And next time I met him, he said, next time you're riding for me, you'll do what you're told. So I should have won the Galway hurl from him. He said to me, I pointed up to the castle, and he says, you kick on up there. And I says, John, says, never a horse won the Galway hurl, he kicked on up there. And he says, do what you're told. I fucked it away. Should have won the Galway hurl. I never really got to ride good horses. No, I suppose I wasn't good enough. I suppose that's why I didn't get to ride them, but didn't never really get to ride good horses. Funny enough, I always thought I was good enough to ride them, but obviously I wasn't. But yeah, no, I never. I did. I tell you, I rode a really good horse. Well, not a really good horse. I also won the Galway hurl after for Willie Finnan. I gave him fucking awful bad ride one day. I went too fast altogether. A Thai Spirit. And remember Ted Welch sent me one. And by the way, no, I knew full well, like I was after giving the bollocks to ride. And Ted Welch said to me, oh God, you lost the head there, he says. Of course I didn't know what he was talking about, but I knew full well. Lost the fucking riding him, I deserved it too. And he was a better rider than me now. But he was fat. He was strong, like he was strong, like he was always like little Michelin man. We used to call him Little Michelin man, and he was a very good rider, great judge of pace, great rider, but he didn't like jumping, and he was too fat. He was too heavy for that. He was too heavy for the flat, and he didn't like jumping. He rode a few winners, he rode good winners over jumps, but he didn't like it. He gave up in '96. There was a horse that myself and another good friend of mine bought at the sales, and we trained him up to when he was going running, a horse called Supreme Charm. He finished sixth in the national after for Kimbailey. Supreme Charm, a very good horse, and Yeah, so we were pre-training him for Michael, for David O'Meara and Michael, and we had him a year long time. So Andy won on him, I'd say the week before I got married, and that was his last ever ride. Lost his claim and retired the same day. So we decided we'd go train a few horses, and so I was busy riding away, and we decided anyway, Andy get the license. To be honest, he was always a better fit for it, because you know he'd be better, he'd be more better people's person. Like, he'd be better to talk to people than I would, much better. Yeah, so we decided Andy get the license, and we had a few horses, and just we had a couple of good ones, and we had a good few winners. And the first year we had a good few winners. We had 10 or 12 winners, and sure, then we were just tipping away, and we got into the breeze of horses. And sure, lucky enough, Henry Beebe was Harry Beebe. Henry Beebe's father was a great man, you know. They used to come around looking. Harry come around looking at the horse. And the first horses I bought 4 horses, 1,000, 1,800 and 3,000. First horses, and they were the first horses we bought to go breezing. And Harry Beebe was a great man, and he came and he looked at the horse, and he looked at him, he walked around, he looked at him. Yeah, if you get a few pounds, you might try and buy a better one next time. And yeah, he was a great man, because you know he's a great fella to give a fella a chance. Like, he gave us a chance. Like without him giving us a chance to get those horses into the sales, it would have been very hard for us, you know. And to be fair, like, those horses, we got a few quid for those horses, and we were able to build a little barn. And yeah, and buy a few more horses the year after. And we tried all the time then to get a little bit better horse the whole time. We were flying along and buying a better horse, and of course we got a bit carried away one year, and we gave a lot of money for 4 horses, and then the crash came, and the whole lot was gone. And we put it back to, we put back we lost a lot of money that year, and so, you know, the next year then we went and we had a couple of good pint horses. And of course, then to get back to, we better go to the pint of pints, because that's where the love is, you know. I was up at the sales again, above a dog sale, and I bought a beneficial horse off of Tom Quinlan, who was over mine, and I knew of the Quinlans well, but I wouldn't have known Tom Quinlan well. And I bought Monksland off him for 8,000. And Monksland's a very good horse. He won 2 or 3 grade 2s for an old Mead. It's a very, very good horse. Long story short. Now another story. Derek O'Connor ran him out of the wing at the last fence in Ballysteen, going to win his pint to pint. And he said sorry to Roger after. He probably didn't expect the horse to be coming at him as fast as what he was coming at him. And but anyway, he put him out anyway. And so, and I got very friendly with Tom Quinlan after buying that horse off him. I got very friendly with him. He actually gave us a horse to train, a horse called Castledown. He won a pint to pint, and he won a few in England after. He was a grand horse, and I got very friendly with him. And a fella that I worked with in O'Grady's called Mark Troy, and I'd be very friendly with he's called Shaky Troy. There was a horse running last year called after him, but Shaky came on one day and he says, there's a horse down there and you better come and have a look at him. He's a fair nice horse. So I went down and I saw, I'd be going down to Tom's a bit anyway, but I went down and I saw this horse, and he was a grand horse. grand horse, not over big now. Like not over big. I used to laugh when they used to be calling him big horse in the hurries because he wasn't like he was good size horse, but not over big. And so anyway, we bought this horse and went to the sale, and I met Tom. And I said, Tom, I'm going to try and buy your horse. What's the story? Oh, he said, I have to get 12 grand from him. That's it. He says, I'm not going to sell him any less. And I said, that's grand. I have to go back now because Monksland, Tom and Clodagh Hassett. Clodagh Hassett would be Mark Dwyer's sister. But Tom and they owned half of, they owned Monksland with us. So we were in partners. They owned Monksland with us. And so we were going buying another horse. We were looking at Monksland and we were going buying another horse. So I told him Tom had a nice horse and he's looking for 12 grand, and so we're going to give it to him. Tom said, that's great. That's great. So went anyway, and we bought him against the reserve. And we bought another horse on the same day by Beneficial. This is fact now, you aren't going to believe this, but this horse used to run away from Faugheen every time they ever worked. And Faugheen was going along there, and sure, this horse was beating him in his piece, every piece of work. He was beating him in every piece of work. And like, we thought this horse was the next coming. And we just couldn't believe, and we were going along anyway, and we were working it in Thurles one day. About I would say it was March time. We were doing a piece of work over fences there. And Kinwhelan rode Faugheen, and Roger rode the Beneficial horse. Now this Beneficial horse, I would say he beat him 20 lengths. The man was just better than him until he got sick. There was no... Faugheen was always a good horse. And the day he worked in Thurles, Kinwhelan rode him, and your man beat him 20 lengths, but we were there and we were all fawning over this other horse, right? Every one of us, like Roger, Andy, me, the whole lot of us, right? We were all. And Kinwhelan said, hey lads, I'm telling you, this is a fair horse now. I'm telling you now, this is a fair horse. And yeah, so you know, that was it. And this horse just ran away from him. But you know, so that's what you're dealing with in horses, like cold or whatever he got, whatever infection he got or cold he got, finished him. And anyway, Faugheen was grand, but he was a little bit, after that piece of work, he was a little bit, I don't know what he'd done to himself in the day, but he missed a bit of work anyway, and he'd be left off for 3 or 4 weeks. And remember, Nina came and rode this Beneficial horse, worked for Killenaule. And God, I learned the biggest lesson of my life anyway. The biggest lesson of my life. This horse worked like a machine. She was mad about him. And she said, lovely horse. And Noel came back, and anyway, we didn't make a deal anyway. And I would say that was on the Thursday. And the next Sunday morning, I went out and there's green snots running out of this horse's nose. And he was to run the Sunday after. In the Horse and Jockey. Anyway, he by Tuesday or Wednesday, this horse was very sick. And he missed the jockey. And we ran a horse in the race. That used to pull up behind this fella and work, and he finished third beating 7 or 8 lengths. And he used to pull up and work behind him. He couldn't, and Anyway, when we brought your man back, the next thing wasn't he whistling. Horse called Satisfied. He was whistling. Never finished the race. He used to beat Faugheen in every piece of work, never finished the race. And so anyway, he was sick, so he was sick anyway. So the next time Faugheen is back, and we decided that we'd get him ready. We'd get him ready, and we'd get him ready for we give him a school and bumper and have him ready for the autumn. So give him a couple of weeks cantering. We took him into Thurles for a school and bumper, and this horse no hunter start or nothing now. And he came down the straight on the bridle, and so we said we better run him. We didn't think he could be fit, like, but we said we better run him. So we ran him and he won. And sure, went to Willie. Funny thing is then is every horse we ever sold to Willie won a grade 1. Like, we've only ever sold Willie. Well, that's not particularly right, because we sold him a horse last year called Cantico, so he hasn't run from yet. But before that, Faugheen, Quillesprit, Cooldine, backwards, Cooldine, Quillesprit, Faugheen. The only horse we sold Willie. He won Templemore. Yeah. God, I couldn't see him beat. At that time it was different. When you have a good horse that time, you'd win, you know. Now you don't know what you do. When you'd have a good horse that time, you'd be confident to be on the win. Now you just don't know what you're going to meet. Cooldine, Quillesprit, Invictus, Chablais. Listen, obviously Monksland. Monksland's a very good horse. Yeah. So, and listen, there's loads of them, like, but they wouldn't have reached the heights of him. But there's loads of great horses, and they're just Beakstown, and so another Shanblue, then Skelton, a couple of good ones off us. More than likely, the 4th horse in a 4-year-old maiden will win a bumper. More than likely. You know, and some of those good races, like that, and like, you know, a horse has to be a handicapper now when he runs on a point to point. Like, the amount of getting ready in those horses is phenomenal, you know. We'd never look at the pedigree and laugh at the horse. It would be all about the horse with us before pedigree. National hunt racing, it's all about the individual. If you go up to Fairy House and you walk around and look at the pedigrees, look at the good horses, and before them horses were on the pedigree, there was no pedigree there. Most of the good horses. You know, the good horses make the pedigrees national, but it's all about the individual. That's what we got from our father. Like it's always about the horse. What we'd look for, we like a good sire, like old Vicks, and you know, we like Lamos. We used to love Lamos in a mare. You know, in the dam, and it's mostly the sire's accordion. You know. Listen, I'm not saying there's different ways of doing it, but we've been very lucky that way. You know, but my father always says, if you can hear him come and walk away. Yeah, my father never liked a heavy moving horse, so that would have been drilled into us. If you didn't bring back a fairly good mover, you were in trouble. Colourful at times. Sure, the setup is simple. There'd be no training without Andy, for sure. Now, listen, like we all work together. We all work together as a team, but there'd be absolutely no training without Andy, for sure. He loves the training. He loves the training. He loves, whereas he loves going racing and meeting owners and meeting people, whereas I love being at home with the horses, like, you know. So it works out well, like, now, but like, we don't agree on everything, like, so as you can imagine, there'd be, you know, so there'd be, there'd be some good heated conversations. We both rode in a race in Tramore the day Brian was born. Yeah, there's a big age group there. There's a big age difference there. Brian goes to a lot of the sales and very good at the bookwork. Brian's very good at keeping everything in order. Brian is very, very good at selling horses. Very, very good at selling horses. Yeah. Yeah, so that's you can develop that, and that's what Brian is. He does a lot of the book, and he's very, very good at selling horses. Better educated than me and Andy. Yeah, smarter. And to be fair, every one of us, we've all bought very good horses. We've all bought very bad ones too, mind you, but we've all bought very good horses, so we can all, you know, any one of the three of us can go to a sale and we'd be happy for any one of us to buy a horse. So we're lucky that way. And to be fair, I think if any one of us was gone to places, they running the same way without, like the others would just stay tipping away the same. It's but it means there's always one of us here, you know. There's always one of us here, and that's a big help. We never bought more than 10 3-year-olds. We never had more than 10 3-year-olds ever. We'd still probably have 6 or 7 every year. But we'd never buy more than that. Never. We never had more than 10. We reckoned if we couldn't get a good one with 10, we probably wouldn't get them with 40. So, and now there's probably 50. It's probably 80-20, 70-20, or 70-30. So yeah, 70-30, I suppose, in the split flat horses. So yeah, so now we breeze a good few flat horses, like still all the time, and like that's how really the training kind of died down and it was nearly punctured and it was going very bad. And then we, you know, when you start off and you win a few races, lads send you on horses and you're a great fella. And then you get a couple of bad bunches, and then you can't train at all. You're a fool. And we kept training away, we kept tricking away, but like the numbers were very small. But we were fine. We were making a living breezing the horse, and we were grand, and we were happy out. And then one year was a bit of a game changer. We had a Swazier horse, and I got 2 horses off of fella Seamus Ross. Seamus Ross got 2 horses off of Seamus Ross to breeze. An Invincible Spirit horse and an Acclamation. And the Acclamation horse had hooky old hind legs, and he was a rig, so they gelded him. And of course, Invincible Spirit was the next coming. It was second season, I think, or first season or second season. But second season, Invincible Spirit was all the rage anyway. And of course, Seamus was busting about this Invincible Spirit. And anyway, all game changer for us was we couldn't sell either of the 2 horses. Couldn't give them away. Well, actually, I tell a lie. I tell a bit of a lie there. Seamus said I was to sell the Acclamation horse. And I put a 20 grand reserve in him. He said I was to sell him, but I put a 20 grand reserve in him. And sure, I don't know what to give 20 grand from. There's no one, like, he's a little bit of an Acclamation hind leg in him, and he had a bit of a plain head in him. Fuck, could he gallop though? Could he gallop? And anyway, so the game changer in the training for Andy was those were 2 fairly good horses. And one of those horses won 8 races and the other one won 12. You know, including he won a listed race, second in a Group 2. Ansidor was second in a Group 2, won a listed race, won 100 grand handicap in the Curragh. And then Andy started getting notices as a trainer, and then we're getting more horses to train. So that's how the training thing kind of evolved. We had a very good horse last year, but he was a bit coltish and a bit backward. A horse called Faugheen. He was 3 last year, or the year before. But anyway, he took, I'd say, 4 runs to win. But he was still saleable when you get up the level on the flat. Once you get up the level on the flat, it doesn't matter where you start. And he's won over $1 million now in Hong Kong. You know, like, he was a good horse. Now he's a little unlucky. He won, I think it was the Madrid. He won in Naas, and he won the Madrid handicap in Naas, and he won a maiden in Dundalk, and he won a maiden in Dundalk, and he was very unlucky. He got squeezed out of it in Royal Ascot. He'd have been very close, I'd say. But then he got sold after Royal Ascot. A few people saw the way he ran, and he got sold for nice money for his owners. And yeah, he's $1 now. All private, all agents and privates, but we probably a little bit different to everyone else. We sell most of our pointers private as well. Like, if somebody come in here and offer us good money for a horse, we're going to take it. Right or wrong, now listen, I'm sure there's foreign against that, but it's just the way, like you know, like some great fellas, like, they come in there and they offer you good money for your horse, like, and a lot of the owners probably don't want to be told what their horse cost. You know, that it's great when they're good, they don't care. But you know, if they don't work out as everybody would hope they'd work out, they don't want to be told what they cost every time they run. So a lot of the trainers, I would say, would prefer to buy them at home. And on the flat, when you have a nice winner above in Dundalk, before you get home, you'll have 4 phone calls. Yeah. Before you get home, like, before Andy or Brian would be home from the races, they'd have 4 phone calls. Different lads. Not saying they'd all have interest in buying them, but they'd all be wanting to know what's the story. They'd all want videos and pictures, and Dundalk to help. The soft ground's a no-no, like. You know, the soft ground's a problem. If you win in the soft ground, you have no foreign customers, like. You know, a lot of the world don't want your horse. America is a very diverse, like, they're running for $60,000 in a maiden in America. So if you've won beaten in a maiden here, if you're second or third in a maiden here, a good second or third, and they like him, you'll get good money from. Like, we had a filly there called Lucky Girl, an Exceeding Excel filly, and she's won 3 stakes races now in America, and they bought her because she got beat for good money now, but they bought her because she got beat first time out, because they knew that they were going to get most of their money back in the maiden. We're a selling yard, and you know, when we find a good one, we have to sell them, and hopefully that he'll go on. You know, we hope that at all levels that they all go on. Whatever we sell them for, we hope they all go on and win some races for the next men. Strike the Deal was definitely the best horse on the flat. I know my Dreamboat won a Group 1. I suppose really he's the best one because he won a Group 1. But Strike the Deal was unlucky not to win 2 of them. Like, he got beaten and nicked by Dark Angel in 2 Group 1s. Horse to horse. You get him fit and keep him healthy. It's not easier or harder. You don't have to go schooling them over 100 fences before you run them. I suppose in that sense it's easier, but it's the same principle. Like, he's got to be fit and he's got to be healthy. If I wasn't here, it'd be no jump horse. And he absolutely loves the flat. We always like to use our own jockeys. I suppose we're big believers that horses win races, not jockeys. You know, and you have lads working horses. When you have lads working there every day, and if they're good enough, we like to use them. You know, like to give them their shot anyway. And from the start, like even at the very start, the first horse, Roger Quinlan, like was rode the pointers first, and he rode them, I'd say, up till he gave up. And now Adam Ryan is coming through, and he's riding them. And on the flat there, sure, we had Ben and Andrew there, and Ben is first jockey now to Johnny Murta, so he's gone. We don't really get to use him much. Andrew's riding all the horses, most of the horses for us, and we have a couple of apprentices. But we give them plenty of shots. If they're good enough, they're going to get enough goes anyway. Staff, for sure. At the moment now, touch wood, at the moment we're very lucky, but that could change in a month or two. But at the moment, yeah, but keeping enough staff. You know, it's like there's a good lot of bigger yards around here, and they eat up a lot of staff, and yeah, it's impossible. But after saying that, we're very lucky. You can be given out about Willie and Gordon and Henry, and Willie started with 6 horses. Gordon started with bad horses that wouldn't win in Ireland. He kept taking them over to England. He kept winning races. I think he won the English National before he ever tried to win in Ireland. And I rode for Henry de Bromhead, I'm going to say 20 years ago. He had 2 horses. Right, so, you know, we can give out about them lads and said, oh, they have all the horses and they have all the money. Why? You have to ask yourself why. Like they have them for a reason, because they kept winning with the ones they had, and they kept getting they made the horses they had better than what they had. Like, so you can give out away, but you gotta try and match them, and you know you can go back. Like I remember when I started riding first. When I was in Frank O'Brien's. Willie was just starting, but like he was winning Galway hurls with little bits of fillies, and you know, like he was winning races, and it wasn't overnight. Willie Mullins didn't have 400 horses overnight. Like he built it up, and I know Henry was lucky, and he got the sizing horses, but. Like he was only lucky to get him. Like he wasn't lucky for what he done with them. So, you know, so I think you can give out or you can try and match them. And if you can't match them, there's no point giving out. That's a pet hate of mine. You go to the summer meetings and you turn up at a summer meeting with a horse that wants nice ground. The ground is soft, and they're calling it good ground and soft, and that just drives me mad. I don't mind, listen, it's time things move on and you water the ground, but it shouldn't be watered past safe. They should be able, and if they're not able to get the watering proper, they shouldn't be allowed to have summer racing. They shouldn't be allowed to make soft ground in the summertime. Just shouldn't happen. Their word for it then is welfare. Welfare, and there's no welfare about the poor horse that's unconscious, pulled up halfway around because he's a good ground horse trying to run in heavy ground. Good ground in one track and good ground in another track. It's not the same. It's not the same. I don't know now the cure for that, but I do think they should have a way in this day and age of calling the ground as it is. The horse that needs good ground, he deserves to be left running good ground. It doesn't have to be firm ground, but he does deserve to be left running good ground. And you know, and they say that the jockeys are kicking up. Sure, tell them don't ride. Like there's plenty of young fellas looking for a chance that are only too happy to ride in any fella that don't want to ride in it, don't have to ride in it. Every horse can run in good ground. And if he can't run in good ground, he shouldn't be in training for the summer. You know, there's 8 months in Ireland for that soft ground horse. You know those summer tracks, Kilbeggans and those. And Kilbeggan is phenomenal. Like they work hard up there and they do a great job. But they're made over water, and when you overwater and they're going in 6 or 8 inches on that ground, and I don't know how many meetings they have in Kilbeggan. We'll just say they have 10 meetings in the year. They only have so much ground, and when you water, you keep watering, you make the ground false, and the ground hasn't time to knit back properly. You know, and so there's more than the soft ground thing. I think they're damaging the tracks by overwatering them, and I'm fairly sure I wouldn't be the only fellow with that opinion. Riding a horse in a race without a whip would be akin to driving a car with no brakes down a steep hill. I think we're pandering to people that can't be peacified. When they get, right, it's gone, right, it went from 10 slaps to 8 slaps, now 7 slaps. Now and then it'll be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, none. Gone, stick gone. Right. And then when that happens, then they're going to say, oh God, that horse is sweating after that race. He shouldn't be running. The poor horse is tired. And so it's going to be, they'll keep going. Those people will keep going until there's no racing. And then when there's no racing, the same people will be saying, God, that fella shouldn't have a dog. There's no dog should be in a house. So you won't be allowed. You know, they're going to find a different thing to give out about. So I think you can't peacify those people. I think I think they should be educated. People in towns, I think the thing is coming from that, isn't it? From, you know, the whole world is getting more city, and more people are living in big cities, and they don't understand. They don't understand. Like these horses, these animals, they're the best looked after, better looked after than most people. And I know that they have to work hard in this, and horses get injured. People get injured every day. You know, it's just, nobody likes to see their horse getting injured, but people get injured at work every day. I love going racing. I do love going racing, but I'd much prefer going to a national hunt race meeting than a flat race meeting. You know, I'd go to the national hunt race and, for fun, you know. Whereas I'd only go a flat race, and if Andy wasn't there to go, or Brian, yeah. But I'd be looking to go to the national hunt meeting. Like, I go to every pint to pint. If I'm in the country and we've a runner, I'm there. I'd probably go to the local pint to pints even if we hadn't a runner. I think the market expects too much of 4-year-olds. Yeah, that's what I think. I think the market expects too much. It's an industry that's taken off, and listen, I've been a beneficiary of it. I've definitely destroyed some really nice horses. Without a shadow of a doubt, I've destroyed some really nice horses, pushing to get them to run too soon when they weren't ready for it. Or when I say we, us as in Slattery, Incorporated, whatever. Like the whole lot of us. Like you can't blame one of us because we're all involved. Well, as I told you, pedigrees, on the flat mean nothing to me, or the jumps. So I'll be looking at the flat pedigrees. But it's all about the horse. And I like sires, but I wouldn't be following sires blind. You know, I'd buy a nice horse. Some of our best horses on the flat, most of our good horses on the flat, have either been by young sires or good sires that they're gone off of. Like if a horse can get a good horse once, he's going to get another one somewhere. Best piece of advice I was ever given, my father gave it to me one day. I was a little bit of a bowled young fella, and I was drinking a bit, and he was going racing. He was dropping me over to Ballynunty, over to my friend's house, and I was after being out all night with my friend. I was only young at the time, and he said, you know, he says, you can either drink or you can either drink now or you can be a jockey. He says, whatever you want. Never drank again. Never. I might have had a couple of glasses of champagne, but I've had very, very little to drink after that. So that was the best. That was definitely the best piece of advice I was ever given. So any advice I give to any young fella is keep grounded, because this game will ground you, and you see too many young fellas like horse racing, and you get winners, and you can get a lot of money quick. You know, a young fella starting riding horse to get a lot of money quick, and you know, if they're not careful, they can think there's no into it, and then can come very quick. So I'd say keep grounded. Keep grounded it's the one thing if you have to do. I love winning. I love a good horse. I love riding a good horse. Like I still ride out every day. I absolutely love the feel of a good horse underneath you. You know, you're riding around there, and you're just riding an ordinary horse, and you're riding horses, and you just come to the end of a piece and just, and that little bit, you know, that little bit, that's the bit, yeah, that's the bit that drives me. And of course, the bit we all need is we have to have money to keep going. So that motivates everybody. None, I'm absolutely bored awful lot. I watch a bit of soccer, but I'm very bored really. I just horses and more horses. More of the same. More of the same. I love doing what I'm doing. Yeah. You know, I get up there every morning, I go out, feed the horse 6 o'clock, it's not work. It's not work. I just love going out there every morning, love going out there, riding out the horses and looking for the next good one. Ben and Andrew, and Jake, like, they've been coming up there all their life, and it's great to see them going on, like, and riding winners and keeping it going. And my young fellow was too big now. He was too big to be a jockey, you know. And Luke now is working in Tattersall's. He's another nephew of ours, so he's a brother of Ben and Jake's. I have a son and a daughter. Willem is 29. He got married last week in Dubai, and Emma is 24. So yeah. And they're both healthy and well, and is lucky. And Sharon is my wife, and yeah, it's long suffering, poor old devil. He's working with John Hyde over there for Sheikh Hamden or Shadwell, whoever Sheikh Hamden is. He's working over there, and he met a girl over there, but I'm hoping he's going to come back and help us out. That's what I'm hoping at, yeah. Yeah, when I be taking it, I suppose the natural progression is, you know, the young fellas come through, and we can just slip away back into the background. Not sure how good we'd be at that, mind you, but we'll try.